Hey guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about what it means to go into a place of really deep connection to what your soul's messages are, and to wean yourself and myself from outside messages and why it matters. So first of all, there's been a lot going on right now in the collective about looking for the answer in some kind of channeled message or an astrological consultation, or an AI intelligent thing, like a voice called Lilu from Lisa Harrison. And then there's a lot of disenchantment, or listening to this entity called Sam giving people song messages through the radio. And then there's been a lot of disenchantment, like a fall from grace, as we experience disappointment in these ways of understanding reality and ourselves. And part of what I've seen happen in this, and I'm going to give a solution here and a quick and dirty example from my own life, is I've seen what many world traditions call the trickster element interfere with messages, even sometimes synchronistic messages, but more so some of these techniques I've been sharing, mostly like trying to get all your information through channeled works or music synchronicity, or even astrological advice and consultations. None of these things on their own are not wonderful. It's when we become reliant, a codependent energy with those messages. Instead of going deeply within to the deepest inner knowing place within yourself, the soul sovereignty place. One of those places I find a lot of deep inner knowing is my dreams at night. I can distinguish between the rattle trap of the day's stuff working through and what I would call a big dream, which I'm going to share with you in a minute. So I'm going to play a little music. I'm going to tell you why. Remember that song? It's a Beatles song called Penny Lane. Now, I was born in the 60s and 62, and so Penny Lane isn't a song I listened to growing up, but I understand and recognize the lyrics and the tune roughly. But I had a dream the other night, so I've been going through a lot of stuff right now about weaning myself off of external sources of inner knowing. In other words, taking it straight to soul sovereignty, straight to my own inner knowing. And as I've been doing that, I've been really discovering a lot of great gifts, treasure even, in the dream world, in my dream world, and in my daily synchronicities, and certainly in my meditations. But the one that I want to share with you is the Penny Lane one. So I had a dream about 2 nights ago. It was the night that Pluto went direct after being in retrograde motion for months and months and months. So it's a very propitious night to have this powerful dream. And this woman was standing in front of me, and it's nobody I know, I swear. She looked kind of like I don't know, maybe a 70-year-old woman who was kind of authoritarian and kind of teacher-like in her energy. And she said to me that her name was Penny Lane, and that she had a message for me about a call to action. And in my dream, I mean, the word call to action already has a lot of, it's a kind of an online sales word, you have a call to action. Like a call to action is, by the way, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell. That's a call to action. But in the dream, I knew she meant like a deeper call to action within my life and within myself. So that was the first dream. And then the second dream I had the same night, I think I'm missing a part of the dream. Oh, yeah, I'm probably going to forget a piece of it. I should have my dream journal handy. But the second dream I had was this old wise monk was talking to me, like a combination of a monk and an Indian guru, but a really old guy, nobody I recognize. Okay, this is not like, Swami Muktananda or something. And he came to me and he said, you are needing to move to prime. And right now you're 2 levels below prime. And then he showed me a sort of a mental picture of the letter T, which is Tau, of course. And the top bar on this would be prime. And then anything underneath it, subprime, obviously, like a subprime scandal. Subprime loans, remember those from the 2008 US debacle? Anyway, but the idea that I got, like kind of in a download within the dream, was that each of these lines below, the T-bar, so to speak, would be versions of reality that were less than prime. And so I want to tell you what my deconstruction about that was for myself, and I'm doing this as a learning lesson for all of us about how to deconstruct the deeper messages from our own soul without having to necessarily go to a psychic or an astrologer, or depend on other people for the information that you are getting for yourself from yourself. So, of course, the first thing I did was look up the song lyrics to Penny Lane. That was a logical thing to do on Awakening, right? And I was so surprised by these lyrics because there was two things that jumped out at me. There's a part in the lyrics, and I pulled them up, where he talks about a girl selling poppies on Penny Lane. So a girl is actually selling poppies. The pretty nurse is selling poppies from a tray. You know what? You can't make this stuff up. That very day of the dream, I happened to go to a grocery store in my hometown where I grew up. That's where I'm staying right now. And there was a guy standing up there with a tray of poppies, the fake poppies, you know, the little, we use them in Canada, we call it Remembrance Day. The little poppy pins made out of felt. And he's like, would you like to buy a poppy? Would you like to buy a poppy? And he's looking at me and I'm like, not right now, another day. You know, I'm not into pinning my clothes with poppies to remember the dead from World War I. Although, because in poppies are in Flanders Fields in Holland, where we have many graves of Canadian soldiers. So we've got the theme of poppies, remembrance, soldiers' death, and graves. And then there's this poppy reference in the song. And then later the same day after my dream, I happened to be listening to an astrologer on YouTube, one of my favorites. Her name is Marina at Dark Star Astrology, and I was listening to an older post of hers about Ceres, Pluto, and Eris, the goddesses of the underworld. And what does she say in the first 5 minutes of her post? That Persephone was picking poppies in the field when she was abducted by Hades in mythology. I always thought she was picking daisies, but it didn't matter. I've got poppies 3 times in a row. I'm paying attention. Those kinds of synchronicities are coming to me pure, clean, simple notes. All right. I mean, I don't need another person to interpret them. I don't need anyone else to find them for me. I am in a direct uplink to the divine, right? And so can you be at all times. Second thing that happened was I decided, well, I better discover what the word prime actually means, because in my mind, prime means like primo, or, you know, super good or super special. So I'm trying to think of, you know, this T thing that I need to elevate to. And in the dream, the monk said, you're 2 levels below prime, but I'm bumping you up now, like in the dream, to 1 level below prime. And I can't say what that really means, actually, yet. And, but, oh, let me go back to Penny Lane for a minute. Sorry, guys. You're going to love this stuff. Can't make it up. Literally, I didn't know this about the Penny Lane song, but over and over again, the refrain says, Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes. And over again. And what's in our ears and our eyes? The matrix. Like the only way we can perceive reality is through our senses, right? Yes, our sense of touch and smell, but certainly our eyes and our ears. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. There's an allusion to that which we see and hear defining reality, whether it's real or not. But what really gives it away in the song, let's go back to the nurse. I think that's where I read that line is. Hang on, reading my lines. Nope, where is it? There's a line about this being a play, and I want to figure out where it is. All right, so I'm reading the whole song. Okay, here it goes. The poppy girl. The pretty nurse is selling poppies from a tray. And though she feels as if she's in a play, she is in any way. She is anyway, in any way. So, and though she feels as if she's in a play, she is anyway. She is anyway. So that song by the Beatles is a code. This is a play. Then I went to look up the word prime, because that makes sense to figure out what prime really means, that somehow we need to be in prime, or I'm going to get bumped up to prime from the monk. And prime is first, Latin for the first part, the chief, the principal, the first thing. So prime meaning the first thing, the principal, the chief one, the principal, the first, makes me think that the dream is talking about reality itself. That brings us into the idea of nested realities and inception. And if there's prime and I'm 2 layers under or 2 lines under, then I'm below the prime reality, or what Elon Musk, I think at one time, called base reality. And so prime could be also called base reality. So I'm excited because I'm about to go into a deep underworld journey. Venus is going retrograde on October 6th. I'm going to do an online shamanic course where I'm going to delve deep into my own inner psyche to find treasure that's buried in the graveyards, the things that are hidden within my own self that I don't know exist. I'm thinking of calling the Venus Diary something like a feminine heroic journey into into a treasure hunt in the underworld or something. So I'll probably post about some of that here, but this is one of the things I want to write, because I'm a writer at my blog, theawakenedreamer.com. Go visit. WakenedDreamer.com, link below. Free gift for you down below too. And of course, subscribe and hit the bell. So I wanted to do a post about UFOs. I haven't gotten to it because I've been having dreams galore. I wanted to do a post about the Brett Kavanaugh thing. I decided to stay clear of politics, even though astrologically there's some really cool stuff I wanted to talk about Vesta the Virgin at the top of the T-square with Saturn during the full moon on Monday, before this whole thing happened in the drama of the US Senate. But I'm not going to talk about that, because I realize that as soon as you talk politics, even when you're saying you're neutral, you're not, because everybody has an opinion about your lack of neutrality. So I'm just going to stay clear. All right, guys. So the message of this long-winded video that's about 10 minutes long is so simple. Don't go to another person or even a system of divination for your answers solely. The trickster, which is Hermes in astrological terms, which is Mercury, which is Loki in the coyote and other world traditions. Loki is the Norse version. Tends to trip us up when we become reliant on something outside of ourselves to an unhealthy degree of dependency. So I think I posted a while back about doing something called the Cosmic DJ Sam Shuffle, and held up my laptop and did a demonstration. And I found that I don't do that the same way these days, because I, like many people who got involved in a certain community doing that, fell into a couple of vortexes. One, the vortex of, forgetting to live life, like just literally getting sucked into your music shuffle as if that was the only thing that by which one should lead one's life. I mean, I didn't do it to that extent, but I know people who did. And then the second part of it in that community was this kind of usurping of each person's soul sovereignty, inner knowing, and inner guidance by the man who created that group posting song messages that were now sort of divine law and all were to live by. So that group kind of dissolved and fell apart by virtue of the era that we're in. We are no longer in a time where we're asked to have an intermediary between us and the divine, primarily because we are sparks and aspects of the divine ourselves. And that has been hidden from us by forces, for lack of a better word, less luminous beings who would prefer humanity become and stay forever, well, we already are, sleeping beauty, right? Oh, asleep to the truth of our divinity, asleep to the truth of our co-creative power, and asleep to what reality really is. And so all of these possibilities of awakening from this slumber are really, really, really ripe now. I'm so excited by that. At the same time, the forces that would oppose that and keep us asleep by becoming dependent on systems that only fulfill sometimes our fantasies or our egoic desires, for material success, winning the lottery. That's a big one at one of those groups. Waiting for something to come down and save us, waiting for a solar shot, blast, UFO, armada, an event wave, anything to sort of externally rescue us from reality rather than internally connecting to the divinity within ourselves and beginning to transmute not only who we are, but everything and everyone we touch. Dissolving the matrix from within is what I'm suggesting. Okay. All right, that was a bit of a spiel. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you soon. I should be posting here relatively quickly, like maybe by the 5th of this month, October, because I want to take you on the journey into the underworld to hunt for treasure with me. I'm going to call it something like the Venus Diaries, and I'll be posting a lot about what goes on for me there. And I'm going to send you an invitation as well below a video soon to come join me for that, because if anyone wants to sign up with me, we'll do it together and I'll create a Facebook group where we can all explore the journey together. And there is no charge for that, because this is my own exploration. And I'm saying, come along with me and take a ride on the wild side. Okay, thank you guys. Mwah.